response to the special motion dated 26 September 2024 by the Honorable Mutuse Mwengi, Member of Parliament for Kibwezi West Constituency, for the removal from office by way of impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Motion alleges that 2 years since assuming office, Rigathi Gachagua has acquired property and wealth whose estimated value is 5.2 billion, despite his known income by way of employment is 24 million. Honorable Mutuse goes ahead to give properties that he alleges are owned by one Rigathi Gachagua. I trust he was just given a document to sign. Had he taken some bit of time to do some research, he would not embarrass himself in the National Assembly. James Derito Gachagua was the governor of Nyeri and died in London on the 24th of February 2017, and yours truly, Rigathi Gachagua, was by his bedside. Prior to his death, 3 or 4 weeks before, in privacy, he wrote his will and appointed Rigathi Gachagua as an executor of that will, jointly with Mwai Madenge, his close-time buddy with seconded his affair, and celebrated lawyer Njoroge Regeru. The three of us were tasked to manage his estate. He did put his properties and assets and cash and anything that he owned in his world. And among the things that he did put was the Olive Garden Hotel, Vipingo Beach Resort, the Queen's Gate apartment, and Langata high-rise flats. It is these 4 properties that the Honorable Mutuse alleges in the National Assembly that Rigathi Gachagua has acquired them after becoming Deputy President in 2022 when Derito Gachagua died in 2017. Those properties were constructed and were in operation when Derito Gachagua was alive. The Olive Garden Hotel that is alleged to have been bought by Rigathi Gachagua belongs to the estate of the late James Derito Gachagua. And in his will, he directed that we sell all his properties and divide the proceeds among his brothers, sisters, wives, and children. We, as the executors of his estate, and I want to pay tribute to lawyer Njoroge Regeru and Mwai Madenge for their commitment and sacrifice to the Gachagua family. We were able to sell Olive Garden Hotel at 412 million and distributed the proceeds to the beneficiaries as directed in his will. We registered his will in the High Court of Kenya and were given the probate. And my late brother, in his wisdom, left Rigathi Gachagua 5% of his wealth. I was therefore able to get 20 million shillings from this sale. That is money that is in my account that again I'm told they are proceeds of crime. He left my mother 5% of his wealth, another 20 million shillings. And since my mother is dead, my late brother, because he trusted me, had put in his will that I hold my mother's shares in trust. So that is another 20 million shillings in my account. Again, my late brother left me another 4% hold in trust of the children who is deceased, the late Dr. Friend Wachira Gachagua, whose children are in South Africa. and another 16 million shillings was put in my account. My late brother gave 2% to my wife, Pastor Dorcas, because of her kindness of looking after him when he was ill. All this money that has come to me from a dead brother, I'm being told are proceeds of crime. Queen's Gate Service Apartments, another property belonging to the late Gachagua, is another property that I'm told I've bought as when I'm Deputy President. That is why I have 5.2 billion worth of money. And this property, again, we sold the Cooperative Bank of Kenya, the staff retirement benefits for nearly 600 million. And this money we utilized to pay his debts. And today, as the late Gachagua rests in heaven, he has no debt. Vipingo Beach Resort in Kilifi was Gachagua's holiday home on 3.5 acres on the beach. The Honorable Mutuse again goes to the, in a very emotional manner, quoting the Bible, says that this property has been bought corruptly by the Deputy President without knowing where the money has come from. I have seen some land, Rogoro Kiamariga, 1223 in Mathera East constituency. To start with, Rogoro Kiamariga is not in Mathera East constituency. It is in Mathera West constituency. They could not even get it right where the land is situated. It's a 2-acre land. It's alleged it has a helipad. It's a lie. And I've planted napier grass for my dairy unit. I bought it at 3.5 million shillings. I have a dairy farm, 50 cows. And I do make an income of almost 1.5 million shillings every month. An accusation that I've bought 40 acres of land in Kakuret, Kabraine, in Kenyan Nyeri constituency as Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. I bought this land from the Honorable Joroge Wainaina in 2015. I was not even a member of Parliament. In fact, the land is not 40 acres, actually 35. The allegation is that it's 40 acres, but that land is 35 acres. The people of Kakuret know it. I bought it from the Honorable MP for Kenny, and had he read this motion, I'm sure he would not have signed it. And I'm sorry that I'm told the Honorable Inaina is admitted in hospital because of threats, coercion. He is being forced to hang a brother against his will and his conscience. I have seen another ridiculous allegation that the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, has since becoming Deputy President, acquired 80 acres of land in Meru. That is false. What is true is that the Deputy President is a member of Solution Circle Limited in Meru. And for those who do not know, the Deputy President is half Meru, half Kikuyu. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua sometimes is a lonely man. And he decided to look for some land in Meru. And in the process, I identified that 29-acre land and borrowed money from Solution Circle, which I'm paying every month. I have seen an allegation that I have a dairy farm in Nyandarua. I don't have a single animal in Nyandarua. I have some little land in a place called Shamata, but I'm yet to do anything about it. I think I just mentioned it to one of the member of parliament for that area called Gachagua that I would like to start a dairy farm. And I think in those rumors in parliament, the Honorable Mutuse went ahead to say that I own a dairy farm in Nyandarua. I own no such farm today. I have seen companies listed just to create an impression that Rigathi Gachagua is doing business. Rigathi Gachagua was a businessman before he became a politician. Those are old companies, and they are not trading. My children, and I told them to continue doing business and not to do business with government because I don't want conflict of interest. I agreed with my children that they do business with the private sector, do farming, and run the family business that I bequeathed them. Rigathi Gachagua Foundation. As a member of parliament, I was educating orphans. I was educating children of single mothers. I was educating children of PWDs. And the education needed to continue, and I don't have the benefit of CDF money. So I started a foundation, the Rigathi Gachagua Foundation, to continue doing the work of charity. The Honorable Mutuse has not said what crime the Deputy President has done by having a foundation that is non-profit making. I have only received a total of 12 million shillings from well-wishers, which have educated children, have educated students at Pwani University, and other vulnerable people. Spiritway Limited is a company registered by Dorcas Rigathi that does work with the church ministries. This ministry has not traded, does not even have a bank account. Calvary Creed International Limited, as the name suggests, is a company founded by my wife, again on evangelism and activities to do with the Church of Christ. Mothers of the Lord Limited. Again, this is a company incorporated by my wife, Pastor Dorcas, in 2021 with our friends. It has never traded. It does not even have a bank account. The Anani Collective. This is a business name registered by my son, Dr. Keith Rigathi, in 2021 before I came into office. The company is dormant. As Apartments Limited, a company that the executors of the late Gachagua put together to manage Langata View Apartments. The late Gachagua left 80 apartments for his children in Langata and asked us to sell and the proceeds to the wives, the children, and the brothers in a formula that he gave. We agreed as a family that we should not sell the flats. We should share them so that everybody can be getting a rental income. I have 10 flats. His daughter has 10, his wife has 5, another one has 2, another has 1. So we did put this company together called Grand Bypass Apartments Limited. This is a company that will be managing estate of the late Gachagua. Company set to manage flats belonging to a dead good man. 40s Viz Group Limited is a company incorporated in 2023 by my son, Kevin. This company has not even taken off. We put up apartments in Koroi, in Rongai, called Rido Plaza, that are managed by this company. We collect rent. We have, I think, 40, 50. We pay tax every month. What wrong has Rido Furniture Mart done? Rido Plaza was 10 years before Rigathi Gachagua became Deputy President. Biovet Kenya Limited is a company, again, I founded in 2009. It has not done business for the last 15 years. Not a single shred of evidence that this company has done wrong. It's not there. Murani Manufacturers Limited. It's a company that is founded by a character from our village and sold some shares to my wife. This company has never traded in government. It has not done any business. It is actually dormant. Delta Merchants Limited is a company I founded in 2009 during the Kibaki era. It has not done business for 15 years. We demand that you say what this company has done. Wamunyoro Investments Limited is a company named after my village in Wamunyoro, which I founded in the year 2001 as a construction company. This company owns a lot of property. that I bought in those years when the economy of this country was on sound footing. Since I became Deputy President, we ceased all activities of this company. It has not done a single transaction with anybody. The company is dormant, but it owns property. Cosmere Venture Limited is a company that was incorporated in 2018 before I became Deputy President by my sons. They do what you call bulk SMS. I used to give them work when I was Member of Parliament to send messages to my constituents. I think they were charging me 30 cents per SMS. Some young, enterprising young people. Company 2018, it doesn't do business with government. It is not accused of any wrongdoing by anybody, anywhere. Royal Crimson Ventures operated in 2018 by my children to do their little business. No allegation of any wrongdoing. Cruito Properties Limited, no details of any accusation, any wrongdoing, nothing. Crystal Kenya Limited, I gave out my shares to when myself and my wife, we got out and asked them to continue doing business. Nyeri County, where I come from, we were hit badly by COVID, and all our hotels shut down. Hundreds of jobs were lost. Many people who were supplying to those hotels shut down. Treetops Hotel cannot be sold. It belongs to KWS. And the person who owned Outspan Hotel had also leased the Treetops Hotel, got an assignment of the lease. So they don't own Treetops Hotel. They went to a bank and borrowed 600 million. The documents are there. And bought a hotel and bought the lease. And I publicly announced that my family has acquired the two hotels because there was nothing to hide. Since this hotel opened, 45 Kenyans are back to work. I have seen an allegation that exerting influence on officials of the Ministry of Lands to issue an allotment letter to Amunyoro Investments Limited and using the fraudulently acquired documents to support a court case. Amunyoro Investments Limited was never allotted any land. This parcel of land, 209/12077, Amunyoro acquired at 24 million shillings in the year 2012. Purchase from a third party. This is a matter that has been adjudicated by the High Court of Kenya and made a determination. And you want to bring it to the National Assembly. Irregular procurement of mosquito nets at a cost of 3.7 billion. And I want to respond as follows. One, there is Andrew Mulwa here has sworn an affidavit with the false allegations. In the affidavit, he says that Deputy President was involved in KEMSA 3.7 billion irregular procurement of malaria nets, either directly or through proxies. Further, Shobika Impex Limited is an international company, the fourth largest manufacturer of mosquito nets in the world. It has done many tenders with KEMSA, with the Global Fund, countries in Africa, in Asia. And there was a tender. Funded by Global Fund through KEMSA. And it was an international tender for manufacturers. The company owned by my son, Crystal Kenya Limited, are not manufacturers. And they did not participate in any way in the tender. But in the year 2014, 8 years before I became Deputy President, Shobika Impex Limited appointed Crystal Kenya as their local agent, whose work is to do their errands and follow their supplies at the ports of entry. Crystal Kenya did not participate in this tender. It was done by Shobika. KEMSA wrote to Shobika and said your tender was not successful because you had a problem with pagination of your security document. Pagination. Those of you who have done tenders, you number the pages. And if they are not right, you can be disqualified. They kept on coming to collect the bid board. It was not available for almost 3 months. And they asked the local agent, that is Crystal Kenya Limited, can you follow up on our behalf? We participated in this tender. We did not win. We have a letter asking us to collect the bid board. We are waiting for it because this is money that is tied. As our agent in Kenya, can you follow up? My son, on behalf of Crystal Kenya Limited, went to KEMSA trying to follow up. And when it was not working, he brought it to my attention and I made a call to Mr. Andrew Mulwa, asking, my son has been here. There's a little issue about a bid board of an unsuccessful tenderer. Why is it that this is money that is tied? And these are foreigners, these are foreign investors. We don't want to make life difficult for them. Please, why don't you release it to it unless there's a problem? Oh, he said, no, the matter is under investigation. That is why we cannot release it. The bid board is with the SEC. I said, fine. If the matter is under investigation, so be it. Right along, the investigations were over. EACC wrote to KEMSA and returned the bid board. KEMSA in return wrote to Shobika and returned the bid board. End of story. Shobika did not win the tender. They were not awarded the contract to supply the nets. No nets were supplied by Shobika. No public funds were lost. And we are told by Deputy President asking why a bid board to a tenderer who has failed to win cannot be returned, he endangered the lives of the people of Kenya. That is how absurd the allegation is. Unnecessary and expensive renovation at the official residence in Karen and Mombasa. How Mutusen knew it's unnecessary, I don't know. He has never been here. When President William Ruto was deputy president, he was denied funds for 5 years. This place was in very high state of disrepair. It took me 7 months to move in. The roofs were leaking, the toilets were blocked, the septic tanks was broken down, the borehole was broken, there was nothing. Parliament, in its own wisdom, allocated funds for the renovation of this residence. As a deputy president, I have nothing to do with public expenditure. In fact, at that time, the accounting officer, between 2022 and 2023 financial year, was the State House Controller. Procurement was done, tender was awarded, and the renovations were done. So to dignify the office of the Deputy President, the residents needed to be in the right standard, and that is not my decision, and I have nothing to do with it. And even if there was an accusation, it should be directed to the accounting officer, who is the State House Controller, not me. I don't deal with procurement, I don't deal with financial management, I don't deal with anything to do with public finances. Dubiously acquiring a substantial portion of sum of 100 million paid to Lusona Events Limited. Again, that's another ridiculous accusation from the north. This is people who give services here for events. We have many meetings. You have come here for IBEC. There are tents put up here to the required standard. We have meetings here for development partners. This is a very busy residence. Most of you have been here. Again, I don't get involved in procurement. That is the work of the accounting officer and his team in public finance management. As to the person who does that work, I don't know he or she, and I have no business knowing who does the work. Those are things that are not in my purview. Again, the ridiculous accusations that that money came to me, one would have to demonstrate how it came to me. Was it brought to me through my account, through cash? Who was there? What is the evidence? Again, it is just trying to throw mud at me. Alleged sensational but false allegations against Lady Justice Esther Maina. It is alleged that a special notice of motion at ground 4 had a gross violation of the Constitution, that I publicly attacked the Lady Justice Esther Maina and falsely threatened to bring action against her. I did not threaten to bring any action against Justice Maina. I did bring action against her. I was just informing the public because I'm a public officer and I have freedom of speech. I have filed petition before the Judicial Service Commission against Justice Esther Maina in issues I felt I did not get proper justice. So I did not threaten her. I did what the law says. If you are not happy with the conduct of a judge, you file a petition before the Judicial Service Commission, which I have done. Again, I don't want to delve before the matters because it is against sub judice. But that I have done, so I cannot be threatened. I cannot be said to threaten her. And again, I have a right as a leader, as a Kenyan, to say what I'm doing. And I did say publicly that I will bring a petition against her, and I have done it. I did not forcibly threaten to bring action against the learned judge. I took legal action available to every citizen of Kenya under Article 168(2) of the Constitution, which allows any person to petition the Judicial Service Commission for the removal of any judge, and filed a legal complaint before the Judicial Service Commission in March 2024. Diverting materials meant for construction of Kilifi Malindi Highway to tarmac a private load to Vipingo Beach Resort. Again, I said Vipingo Beach Resort belongs to the estate of the late Governor Gachagua. King Charles III visited Kenya between 30th October 2023 and 3rd November 2024. During his state visit, one of the designated places where King Charles III was to visit was Kuritu Marine Conservancy, which shares a road with the Vipingo Beach Resort. And it's a public load, by the way, it's not a private load. I have annexed a copy of the program of the state visit to Kenya by King Charles III, marked RG, which at page 13 on items 63 and 64 shows his departure and arrival at Kuritu Marine Conservancy. And as you all know, I walk every morning. And as I walked on that road, I found there was a lot of activity and tarmac was going on. I was very happy and I asked what was happening. And I was told that the king himself, the third, will be coming. Rigathi Gachagua never called anybody to do this road. In fact, I'm informed that this road is donor funded, the one to Kilifi. And there is a component of corporate social responsibility. And I have learned after I have inquired. That road is called Takaungu Shariani Vipingo. It's off the main road. And I am made to understand that Kuritu Marine Conservancy, Vipingo Secondary School, Shariani Primary School, among other stakeholders, including a public market, applied to Kenya to be considered for corporate social responsibility. And I think the issue of the king hastened that request. Undermining the president and the cabinet by allegedly making contradictory public statements from the position taken by cabinet regarding the evacuation of the people residing along Nairobi River. To start with, for the record, President William Ruto has never complained to me that I have undermined him. If he has told that to Honorable Mutuse, I would like to know. My statements did not and cannot be construed to undermining the president, because the president, like me, sought to defend the very Constitution. So when I was asked to oversee brutal, inhuman eviction against innocent people without notice, without compensation, without due regard to what the Constitution says, I found it very, very difficult And I rescued myself and allowed the CS for Interior, the Head of Public Service, the PS for Internal Security to proceed. If that is the reason why Rigathi Gachagua should be impeached as Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya and sent home for refusing to undermine the Constitution, for saying no to brutal and inhuman eviction of poor Kenyans, let it be. Undermining devolution by allegedly holding a meeting in Nairobi. To start with, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, in the duties spelled out by the President under Executive Order number 1 of 2023, he has the duties to coordinate intergovernmental relations. I hold meetings with governors every day. I chair IBEC. I cannot be accused. And I need evidence tabled that I undermined devolution. I unlawfully interfered with the running of the Nairobi City Council government by holding a public rally where I allegedly incited citizens against lawful directives of the county government on planning and relocation of markets. This is my response. It is not true that I incited citizens against the lawful directives of the county government, as alleged. I wish to clarify and point out that when I held the public rally, I merely requested the governor of Nairobi County to speak and listen to grievances which were being raised by the market traders. The traders had sought me out to intervene and request the governor on their behalf to dialogue with them and seek a solution to their grievances with regard to the relocation of markets. Had the governor listened to these traders, they would have had no business coming looking for me. All I was saying is listen to the people. Undermining devolution by allegedly holding meetings to fight alcohol. I held meetings in Nyeri, attended by Governor Kahiga, Governor Waiguru, Governor Irogo Kangata, Governor Wamatangi, Governor Kiari Badilisha. I held a meeting in Chuka, attended by governors of Embu, of Tharaka Nithi, of Meru. I attended a meeting in Mombasa, attended by governors of Kwale, a representative of the governor of Mombasa, the governor of Taita Taveta, a representative of the governor of Lamu, to discuss. I held a meeting in Nakuru, nearly with all governors present, and all of us jointly, under my chairmanship, the Ministry of Interior and Governors, we agreed on how to tackle the menace of illicit brews. And we have a good story to tell. I think the people of Kenya would be shocked to hear tonight that one of the accusations against their deputy president and why he should go home is because he led the battle to fight illicit brews and drugs. If Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has to be sent home for fighting drugs and illicit alcohol, so be it. Sensational statements against the National Intelligence Service and its Director General and other officers. My response. In addition to this allegation, I wish to state that the National Intelligence Service holds a very critical role in ensuring the safety and security of our country. They are responsible for gathering intelligence and share it with all our law enforcement agencies to ensure that the country is safe at all times. Consequently, when the country was caught flat-footed with regard to the scope and extent of the public's dissatisfaction with the Finance Bill 2024, which degenerated in a Gen Z protest, it pointed to the failure of the National Intelligence Service in carrying out its mandate. I am persuaded that the National Intelligence Service ought to have known beforehand that the public was completely opposed to the finance bill, and they ought to have briefed the president before the protest began, as this would have caused a change of tact by government regarding the proposed bill and protest, which culminated in the loss of innocent lives and destruction of property, could have been avoided. Hence, I express my opinion, as this is in my public media briefing in Mombasa, and my utterances were not any different from what happens to other countries when there is lapse or failure by the intelligence agencies. I'll have videos. President William Ruto, as deputy president, at one time criticized the then Director General of the National Intelligence Service. In another video, he heavily criticized the then Inspector General of Police for the performance. I have learned from my boss how this job is done. President William Ruto has been criticized left, right, and center. I have not seen him take anybody to court for criticizing him. Why is Rigathi Gachagua being impeached for calling out the Director General of the National Intelligence Service? I think I've literally addressed all the grounds because I felt it's important for the people of Kenya to know the allegations against the Deputy President and his responses. And as you have heard, though you are not judges and you are not advocates, there is nothing here that violates the Constitution. There is no gross misconduct. There is no crime that has been committed. I want to clarify, my apology yesterday to the President did not in any way imply that I'm guilty of these charges. I'm not. This I'm not. My statement was that if there is something I've done to the President that I don't know, that probably has upset him, I ask for his forgiveness. But that was in no way an admission of this ridiculous allegations. When I called this press conference, there was a lot of speculation that Rigathi Gachagua wants to resign. This is a man elected by 7.2 million Kenyans. How dare you suggest to him that he can do so without public participation? I have no intention whatsoever to resign from this job. I think there's one issue I've forgotten, one ground. The issue of the shareholding, isn't it? There's one that I'm conniving with cartels in the tea sector to block ATDA from implementing guaranteed minimum returns that would benefit small traders. The allegation is not true. No evidence whatsoever has been adduced to substantiate this claim. As far as I know, I've successfully completed my mandate, which was assigned to me by the President, which culminated into creating synergy between people who had taken KTDA to court and suspended the operation of the Tea Act. As a result, the Tea Act now is in operation. The President never mandated me to take over the affairs of the Ministry of Agriculture. He asked me to spearhead tea reforms. I did the tea conference in Kericho, brought all the stakeholders together, and as a result, I created a synergy among all the stakeholders, and we agreed that those people who had gone to court withdraw the cases, and now the Tea Act is operational, and that will see meaningful reforms. As to claims that I have stopped the selling of tea in Mombasa, there is no evidence to that effect, and I want to call upon the Honorable Mutuse to provide that evidence. On the issues of shareholding, I think this matter has been discussed for a long time, and I think it's good tonight I put it in proper perspective. When I talk about shareholding, I'm not talking about Kenyans, I'm talking about this agreement that was signed by President William Ruto and almost everybody else on how power will be shared. I've never talked about sharing resources. I have been talking about power sharing for people to get what they deserve in sharing power in accordance with this agreement. Like, for example, in an agreement between UDA ANC and Ford Kenya, the UDA would nominate the president and the deputy presidential candidates, which has happened. I got my share, although I have no share certificate. The president would guarantee the stature, dignity, financial and operational autonomy of those of the deputy president. It's in the agreement. The office of the deputy president will be allowed specific duties identified at Article 21 of the agreement. ANC will be allocated a position of prime cabinet secretary to be established within 14 days. It was given to Musalia. The office of the deputy president, Ford Kenya will be allocated the position of the Speaker of the National Assembly, which was given to Moses Wetangula. In accord with Article 2.1 of the Power Sharing Agreement, ANC and Ford Kenya would have a 30% share of national government positions. So, the Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, the Honorable Wetangula, and the people of Western, please don't condemn Rigathi Gachagua. The agreement is here, defining your share in the government. It is not me. I did not sign this document. It was signed by Musalia, Wetangula, and President William Ruto. So when I say about this share thing in terms of positions, I've never talked about resources, about development. Although it is also here, is that regions bargained with the president for shares. Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula bargained for 30% of shares within the Kenya Kwanza government. Although they were also supposed to give us 70% of the vote, which they did not. Nevertheless, since they gave a certain vote, they are still entitled to some share one way or another. So it is not Rigathi Gachagua who said that a government is like a company. It is the agreement of the Kenya Kwanza, which I'll be tabling in the National Assembly. It is not me. It went ahead to say it. He said, ANC and Ford Kenya would have 30% share of national government positions. That is cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, high commissioners, ambassadors, diplomatic and consular representatives, chairpersons of state corporations, directors of state corporations, chairpersons and commissions, constitutional commissions, provided the 30% share is to be shared equally between the ANC and Ford Kenya. Sasa mimi nikiambia watu wafuate share yao, makosa yangu ni gani? Iko hapa. I did not sign. They went ahead. Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula. And they must follow these things. Because I will not follow for them because I was not party to the Western agreement. The agreements were with regions. So when people say I'm dividing regions, I'm simply following the Kenya Kwanza agreement. Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula signed a package for Western Kenya. I've never had anybody call them tribalists, but they signed an agreement demanding for Western Kenya. They demanded, and it was agreed it will be done. Completion of all incomplete or stored bitumen roads. Construction of an extra 1,000 kilometers of bitumen in Western Kenya. Revival and modernization of sugar factories in Western Kenya. Establishment of new industries identified in Article 22 of the agreement. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Kenya Kwanza agreement on shareholding. What crime has Rigathi Gachagua committed to be impeached by saying what President William Ruto appended his signature to, with Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula who will preside over my impeachment? Power sharing agreement between Kenya Kwanza and PAR of Amason Kingi. I want to give 2 examples. Yeah? In accord with Article 8 of the agreement, PAR would be allocated the position of the Speaker of the Senate. He negotiated for himself. Let's be truthful. You brought this motion. We'll discuss. The people of Kenya must know the truth so that if Rigathi Gachagua is being crucified for being truthful, let the people of Kenya know why he is being crucified. How can Moses Wetangula say I should be impeached because of saying people to get their shares when he is a signatory to a share agreement with the president on what will go to Western Kenya? And then they accuse me of tribalism. Kingi said, position of speaker, you are mepewa. Article 9A of the power sharing agreement, power would nominate the candidate for appointment of one principal secretary when Kenya Kwanza came to power. Amepewa. For Article 9B, the power sharing agreement, Kenya Kwanza and PAA would agree on what share of national government positions, cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, high commissioners, ambassadors, diplomatic and consular representatives, chairpersons, state corporations, etc., etc. Power sharing agreement, that is a word, so that nobody should ever again in this country ever accuse me of talking of shares. It is not me. It is my boss, President William Ruto, who appended his signature with other leaders that Kenya is like a company of shares. People want these things to be hidden so that they pretend to be nationalistic and say Rigathi Gachagua is tribal. But the people who append these signatures are the ones who should explain why they were signing things for their regions only. Yet they say they are national leaders. And even when the Honorable Right Odinga came, he got some shares. True or false? I mean, surely, why is Rigathi Gachagua being vilified? By just being truthful. On the issues of one man, one vote, one shilling, I am told again that it can create tribal hatred. How? The one man, one vote, one shilling is not a formula for Mount Kenya region. Far from it. The one man, one vote, one shilling talks about equity. The gist of that formula is that all Kenyans should be treated equally. If we are giving bursary to the children of Kenya, let us agree how many children we have. If there are 30 million and we have 100 million, we divide equally and distribute to every constituency to those children. If a hospital takes care of 1,000 patients, we decide based on population what is the size of the hospital to be constructed in Roiro, where there are 800,000 people. If one borehole serves 500 people, do you construct one borehole in an area where there are 10,000 people? You need to construct more boreholes. That's all. And these populations are everywhere in Western Kenya, in Kisii, in Rift Valley. The high numbers are not just in the Mount Kenya region. This is a formula, in my view, that is good for everybody. Again, it is not a law because I pronounce myself. It's just an opinion. And in our democracy, I think it's only fair to allow people to have freedom of speech and to be entitled to an opinion. There are those who talk one man, one vote, 1 kilometer, and it is their right, and we should also listen to them. I want the members of parliament now to focus on the corruption scandals around our country. The Adani scandal, the issues in public health sector, the glaring theft of public resources. That is what parliament should consider and take time. And that is what the people of Kenya want.